Hello and welcome inside Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah for the Devil Source Postgame Show presented by Jones Auto Centers following ASU football's 42-10 loss to the Utah Utes. Chris, this was ASU's worst loss since that three-game stretch at the end of 2023 when there were bad losses to Oregon, Arizona, and right here against Utah. When Kenny Dillingham walked into his postgame presser, the first thing he said to us was, "Feels like deja vu all over again." What did you make from this performance from the Sun Devils?
It was an embarrassing defensive performance. Like what happens? I thought that ASU had progressed a lot more than that. Now remember, 2 years ago, Kenny Dillingham used Utah as like the North Star. That was like the thing that ASU was trying to be guided by: the physicality, the toughness, the approach that Kyle Whittingham had with Utah's team. And then last year, ASU used that to propel itself, to navigate itself to the Big 12 championship. And then ASU returned all these players from that team. And they understood, they should understand like what it took from a physicality, a toughness standpoint. And then they go out in this game saying Sam Levitt, right? And they laid an egg. Like, I don't understand defensively. I mean, yeah, offensively, I understand not having, you're not going to probably do as well. The conditions were bad. You got Jeff Sims. He didn't take one reps all week. But the defense, like Devin Dampier and Utah's offense, they were not completing anything down the field vertically. They had one pass that they completed down the field where they exploited cover three laps by ASU. But other than that, it was all triple option run game. And remember, ASU had a bye week. So you had a whole extra week to prepare for an offense that didn't actually do that much. Like you knew that Devin Dampier was going to run the ball and hand the ball off to his running backs, and they were going to do it creatively. And for ASU to have that bad of a performance, it kind of blew my mind, actually. I thought that this ASU defense was going to be really good this season. And we've seen it play quite well in recent weeks. Like, ASU defensively played great against Baylor, played really well against TCU. Perplexing stuff in this game. I mean, they got mauled at the line of scrimmage. We know Utah's offensive line is great. They dominated ASU, but there was like gap integrity issues. Guys didn't show up where they were supposed to be in run fits. They got knocked off the ball. I don't think they competed at nearly a high enough level. Devin Dampier ran for more yards than any Utah quarterback in a decade. Like, you got to go back to Travis Wilson in 2015 as their last 100-yard quarterback rusher. That's embarrassing. This was an opportunity for this defense to show that it was ready to take a step forward even after last year. Remember, 10 offensive starters back on this defense. They got guys all across their front, their linebacker level, their corners are back, Miles Rouser's back. They laid an egg. This was an embarrassment. They failed a huge test when ASU needed its defense to show up most. And also, you gotta wonder, like, were they just not prepared properly? Like, from a physicality standpoint, from an understanding of the types of concepts that they were going to get run, it was perplexing stuff. This was an alarming performance by ASU's defense.
So, Chris, I kind of want to dig deeper into the defense. Both CJ Fight and Kenny Dillingham agreed in their separate post-game availabilities that ASU got out-physicaled. It was the first thing that CJ Fight said when he sat down at that podium, and Kenny Dillingham went on a tangent about how ASU's strengths in the past have been tackling and physicality at the line of scrimmage, and those were two things that got completely exposed on this field here tonight. So I want to dig deeper into that point you made at the very end right there. Do you think that this was ASU being underprepared coming off a bye week from a coaching standpoint or from a players not executing standpoint?
Well, I think you are who you are in practice. So if you think that your team is going to be able to just kind of execute based upon what you're prepping without having that smash mouth element to your practices, you learn that wasn't the case in this game. So I'm sorry, ASU's players on defense, maybe you're going to need to be pushed a lot harder. Maybe a lot more demanding practices are going to be required out of you. Like this, ASU's team has gone through a period over the last couple years where they've been maturing and they've been coming into their own, and you're thinking that they're ready to handle more responsibility of understanding how to prepare for opponents like this. And what we saw tonight is clearly they didn't practice hard enough, physical enough. Not enough has been demanded of them from a blocking and tackling standpoint, and that showed up. It was like almost like they took their foot off the gas in some way compared to what they did last year that enabled all of their success, and then they got exposed. And that's a tough pill for them to swallow, but I don't see any other way around it. TJ Fight, to your point, said we saw all the things that we expected to see from them. They don't run like a bunch of different things that are weird. It's just that they're running these sweeps, right? And Jason Beck, he's a great coordinator for Utah. I think he did a fantastic job. But they're running these sweeps, and then off of the sweeps, they run quarterback midline read option runs. And you had ASU defenders that were like caught between where are we going, what am I doing, guessing wrong, not showing up in the right gaps. They did not prepare properly for this team. Something was just wrong, and I think they have to take a hard look in the mirror now moving forward.
And Chris, the key reason that everybody was expecting ASU's defense to have to step up tonight was because the Sun Devils were without starting quarterback Sam Levitt. We found out just over 48 hours before kickoff that he wasn't going to be able to go. And Jeff Sims was thrusted into the starting role after not taking any reps with the ones at all during this week of practice. What did you make of Sims' performance, and how do you feel like having him out there instead of Levitt affected the offense?
Yeah, he wasn't good, but he wasn't bad. Like, he didn't turn the ball over. We know that Jeff Sims is not the most accurate pocket passing quarterback. We've seen that. He had a couple throws that were missed opportunities. He was very frustrated. He missed an end zone touchdown. Then ASU had the bad snap and blocked field goal. There were some other things that he missed. But I really think that given the conditions tonight, rainy, super windy, he made some good throws down the field when Utah was in its single high safety looks. And I think Utah's defensive backs did a good job competing at the catch point to knock some of those balls out, and or some of ASU's receivers that couldn't bring in balls that they kind of need to in a game like this. And I think once that happened, it made it tougher for ASU offensively. But also partly, I just go back to, you have to have the right type of game plan and play calling for your quarterback. Jeff Sims is a very athletic guy, and he's at his best with the first level read options, run the jet actions, run the midline read option, not pocket passer. And it was like, we saw that Devin Dampier in Utah with Jason Beck as the OC, they were able to execute all of that at a very high level. And meanwhile, ASU was like doing the Sam Levitt offensive stuff more with a quarterback who's better suited to do the stuff that Utah was doing in this game. And part of this, what I'm wondering is, where were the targets of the tight ends and the running backs? Like, where's the screens to your tight ends? Where's the little quick, easy hitters to your tight ends and your running backs? I've seen other teams be able to take advantage of Utah in that way, and that ASU really wasn't able to do that. And all of that, I think, was, Jordan Tyson got 16 targets tonight.
This is a crazy stat.
He had 40 receiving yards. He had a 2.5 yard average per target, and the dude is like one of the best, if not the best, wide receivers in the country, right? So you got to figure out another way to be productive.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, yeah, Sam Levitt took all the reps Tuesday and Wednesday. Jeff Sims, he was thrust into the situation, and that makes it a lot harder. But you still got to figure out a way that's better than what they were able to put out there tonight.
So, Chris, building off of that, when Kenny Dillingham was asked about Sam Levitt's status in his post-game press conference, he said that his status is week to week, and he didn't clarify if Sam would be able to go against Texas Tech. How do you think Sam's status is going to affect the outlook of this team moving forward, and what are your expectations in terms of when Sun Devil fans might see him on the field again? Because just 3 or 4 days ago, Sun Devil fans didn't even know that he was dealing with an injury, and now he doesn't play in a huge game.
Yeah, So Sam Levitt, people saw he's got his foot in a walking boot, his right foot. That's the foot that you throw off of, right? It's a foot injury. We can say that. Not a high ankle. There's been a lot of speculation out there. Didn't get hurt playing basketball. That's not true either. Like there's a bunch of like rumor mill crazy stuff. He has a foot injury. Not going to be able to go into the specific nature of it, but week to week, according to Kenny Dillingham, as you correctly said, they're going to evaluate him Sunday, Monday. They'll see what happens with Tuesday, if he's able to practice or not. Then you're going to know what you need to do with your game planning and preparing, whether that's going to be Jeff Sims or Sam Levitt. Very difficult situation for ASU. Look, we remember last year, Levitt missed one game due to the rib injury. ASU mostly was a healthy team for the most part. Of course, Jordan Tyson got hurt at the end of the year, missed the 2 postseason games. That was big. But ASU was pretty healthy. Tonight, Ben Coleman goes down early. Jamento Bigbo has to go in there. That didn't go well for ASU. Levitt missed a game. Xavier Alford's like one of their best players. He's been out for several weeks now. And so they haven't had anywhere near as good of luck. Jalen Moss missed a few games. He came back, had a catch tonight, but slow getting him back into the fold. So they've had more bad luck with injuries this year than they did last year already, and it's just still the first half of the year. But they're going to have to figure out what their identity is going to be, and then be able to drill down and execute that much better than they were able to do tonight, because Texas Tech is probably an even better team, and defensively, at the point of attack, there's no doubt that's one of the better defensive fronts in the country, and as good as ASU is going to see.
So, Chris, like you said, Texas Tech coming into Tempe just 7 days from now. Kenny Dillingham referred to them in his post-game press conference as a top 5 team in the country, even though they're currently ranked number 9 in the AP poll. And he said that the key that he told his guys in the locker room is going to be flushing this one down the toilet and trying to rebound as quickly as possible. What are going to be the keys for ASU to do that?
The good news is that ASU has been able to do that. They did that last year. Lost to Cincinnati, rebounded. This year, bad loss, Mississippi State, rebounded, right? So they have it in them, and they're going to understand that losing to Texas Tech would make their repeat appearance in the Big 12 championship very unlikely. So, and that's a home game, okay? Dillingham said that Texas Tech whooped Utah at the line of scrimmage, and ASU got whooped by Utah at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. So to me, what that says is they know that they are in for a absolute war.
Yeah.
And by the way, I said even before this game, this was going to be a bare knuckle brawl, and it was like ASU didn't show up with its fists somehow. Like they're just out there trying to flail around with their arm. Like, what are you doing? But they can't have anything like what happened in this game from a physicality standpoint and expect to compete with Texas Tech. And Texas Tech's starting quarterback got hurt tonight. Backup quarterback Will Hammond is a very athletic guy that they lean on heavily in the run game. Not that dissimilar from what Devin Dampier was able to do to ASU tonight. So that's a whole nother component to that is you don't know who you're going to be going up against quarterback, and you got to prepare for different styles. That's going to make it tough. You got a short week. You don't know if you're going to have Sam Levitt or not. It's a monumental task, and we're going to see if ASU responds to this or not. Like, this is their season that's pretty much on the line, I think, in the next week.
Yeah, I agree.
Do they want to get back to the Big 12 championship or not? They're going to have their best performance, not just this year. They're going to have to play probably better than any game that they played last year to win this game. It's that level of an opponent, the top 5, the top 10 team. I don't think any team that ASU beat last year in the Big 12 was better than Texas Tech is right now. So we'll see. I mean, it's hard in the immediate aftermath of this game, it's hard to look at it and say, oh yeah, they're going to be okay. But we're going to follow the next several days and watch practices and figure out, if they're ready for it or not, and go from there.
Like you said, Chris, it'll be a huge test for the Sun Devils, and only time will tell to see how they'll respond. But that'll do it for this edition of the Sun Devil Source Postgame Show, sponsored by Jones Auto Centers. It is very cold out here in Salt Lake City right now, so that'll be it for us. From Jacob Brooks and Chris Cartman, we're saying so long from Rice-Eccles Stadium, and to keep up with all of our postgame coverage from this loss, make sure to check out sundevilsource.com and our Sun Devil Source socials.